right, we call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Greater Boca Raton Beach and Park District on May 1st. We do our roll call.
Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang,
Here.
Commissioner Wright.
All right, any changes to the agenda? No. And public requests. Do we have any here tonight?
Raul Travieso, 1037 West Royal Palm Road in Boca. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend last month's meeting when you discussed the Patch Reef Pickleball Complex. But I know that my sidekick, Mr. Art Turple, is here to represent us. We're now like Batman and Robin of pickleball, but I don't know who's who. So, but I'm here today to also thank you for your tireless efforts to get these courts built for your constituents, and we are truly grateful. Commissioners, you all know the dilemma, an exploding growth of a sport that seems to have no end. It's hard to estimate the number of courts to meet the demand. At this time, I wish to spotlight 3 months of pickleball participation at Patch Reef Park. March 2021, 1,260. March 2022, 3,444. March of 2023, 6,208. That's a number of players have doubled each year times 3. So I would also like to add that the indoor courts at Sugar Sand are reaching 10,000 participants annually. As ambassadors of the sport, we couldn't be happier because we know that people are recreating. Members of the Boca Raton Pickleball Club want to help. And we have made a pledge to start by attending the City Council workshop on May 8th to request the council's support and assistance so that the city can be proud of the outstanding court complex at Patch Reef Park. Again, on behalf of the Picklers of Boca Raton, we thank you.
Anybody else? Nope. Public requests? Nope. Okay. Anybody online? Nope. Okay. Closing public request. Approval of the minutes of the previous board meeting held on April 17th.
To approve.
Okay. Yes, discussion.
Chair, I just have one question on the motion that was made toward the renovation and resurfacing. I want to make it clear in the motion that the middle school would provide open access to the public for the use of those of the track. And this really needs to probably be clarified to that degree that we're offering up this participation in the hopes that the community will have complete access to the track for walking and jogging and so forth. And this really doesn't make it clear. It just says providing open access to the public. Maybe there's a little clearer statement that could be made that makes sure that that's part of the motion.
Would the access mimic our current ILA with Don Estridge? Because we wouldn't be able to have access during the school hours because of security reasons.
Understood, and I pointed that out.
Okay.
I just don't want to, like on the weekends, locking up the place so that people, because I think residents are often looking for a place to run a measured mile, and they can't do it at FAU and they can't do it at Spanish River High School because the place is locked up. So on the weekend, I guess while we're having other participants there, rugby or whomever is over there, but I just want to make sure that the public, it's clear that the public, when the facility is open, has use of the track without any restrictions.
So can we add the language at the end, outside it open to the public outside of school hours?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Something that's just clear that we want the public to be able to access that facility when it's when the school is not otherwise open and the track is not otherwise being used for, school purposes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to amend the motion that I made to include outside of school hours at the end of the comment that was made on the minutes.
Although the motion was originally made by Mr. Ernst, it looks like. This motion now.
Yeah.
The new motion. Okay, right, but the original motion was made by Craig. Right. Right, the new motion, right.
And the maker of the motion, if I may, Madam Chair, approves of the friendly amendment as offered by Commissioner Bogus. I'm going to be close to it. It's adopted.
We need a second.
No, I was just gonna say, and about clarifying, I was going to offer the same clarification that Brianne offered.
I think, Bob, that we all agreed at the time, and we still agree on conceptually here. So I thought the minutes were okay. It said open to the access to the public. Your point was well taken. After hours and more specific. I think where it would be best suited, because since the minutes are all typed up and ready to go, and I just signed them, but I can take my name off, is that we address it in the agreement with the school district, and we be very specific about what you want. And in fact, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a sign on there that says when these open hours are for the public. So it's more clear, so public can go there. They know when to go there, just in the dialogue, but happy to change this if you want to as well.
I prefer changing. Do what you suggested to by posting the hours. I think that's makes a lot of sense to do that. And we can do that if we get to the point where we actually approving the payment. So, okay.
Oh, as amended, roll call.
The motion is on the amended motion. The amended motion is approved.
Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes. Okay, moving on to regular business. Number 1, Merv Timberlake agreement.
Commissioners, on page 5 of your agenda packets is a new amendment to our agreement with Merv Timberlake, who is our financial advisor. He's obviously instrumental to the budget process, audit process. We've had an ongoing relationship with Mr. Timberlake. I'm asking tonight for approval of the agreement as presented.
Move. Thank Merv. All this mind-boggling numbers and how you've done the projections and everything for us. I just want to thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
And okay, any further discussion? No. Okay.
Commissioner Engel. I skipped over one, sorry. Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins.
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright.
Okay, number 2, the Sugar Sand Park Carousel Maintenance Contract.
Commissioners, on page 10 of your agenda packets is a memo kind of detailing the length of time we've spent working on finding someone who will help maintain the carousel. Obviously, it's a trade that is I guess, dying of sorts in the mechanical trade. So we struggled to get any responses to our original RFP. We advertised again. We did get one response from Mind Changing Entertainment, which may sound familiar because they also did the work to repair the carousel. So tonight, just asking for approval of the agreement with Mind Changing Entertainment as presented.
Obviously, this is, since this is the only respondent, we're going to approve it. My only question is, do they have somebody locally that can come in, or do we have to wait till they fly somebody in?
He travels to do the work. So they would, if something mechanically happened, the carousel closes, it has to close anyway for the state inspection to process it all anyway. So, but he will make himself available to fix things.
And not that there's any other options, but were references checked? He mentioned Disney accepted his certificates. And I just wonder if we checked with Disney.
I don't know if we verified with Disney, but we did accept them prior. I don't know if we've checked just with Disney, but other things, we did check other places that he's worked.
Goodness.
And for, yeah.
Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright. Thank you.
Sure. I should have mentioned this. I did provide some insurance information to Melissa Dawson on the certificate of insurance. And so I'm sure she'll run that past me when we do receive it so that we get the proper endorsements to that certificate. Thank you.
Okay. We are done with regular business. Approval of payroll and invoices. Craig.
Make a motion for approval of payroll and invoices for the amount of $1,257,953.80.
Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to reports and discussion items. Anyone, you want to go first?
Sure. Commissioners, at our last meeting, Commissioner Rollins presented the idea of adding futsal to the west side of Boca Chica property. We've been looking at that, and we've also been looking at an alternative location, which may be an easier way to add futsal into recreation. So we hope to have something back at our next meeting to discuss that. As many of you know, the city and the coastal stewards finalized an agreement for sea turtle rehab program at Gumbo Limbo, and I met with Mr. Holloway on Friday, and they're starting the process to work on obtaining that permit to bring the turtles back. So we're hoping that that all continues to move along. The roofing work at Sugar Sand Park is anticipated to start on May 8th. We're waiting on the permit to be approved. And then I'll let our chair update you on a city council meeting that we attended. It was a very long meeting. I'll let Aaron weigh in on that. And then at the Racket Center here, we're finishing up the project to put in the new lighting. They're adding the footers this week. We've had some delays because of the weather. So they're installing the footers this week. The work will continue this month and hopefully just have a punch list by the end of May to finalize the new lights, and all the courts are resurfaced over there. And then future agenda items, I'm working on this RFP for the operations of Pickball at Patch Reef. So hope to have that at the next meeting. And then we'll have an update on Boca Chica as well at our next meeting.
Couple things. As you may remember at the last meeting or so, lawyer Ryan Abrams appeared before you with regard to the permanent easement at Ocean Strand, forgive me. And we prepared a document consistent with your motion that we believe. We shared that document with you before it was actually sent out. After the commission meeting, we sent it to the Mr. Abrams for his review, as well as to the city attorney's office. We've come to learn that and we're on the record, I'm happy to say this, that perhaps the relationship between the applicant and the city has not been fully cooked yet. And to the extent that you directed me, which I respected and actually asked for, that you approve the document in principle and let Mr. Abrams and his client review it and comment on it. But we also provided copies to the city attorney's office. And based on some correspondence which we've received from the city of Boca Raton, it appears that there's still conversation yet to occur between the applicant and the applicant's client, so to speak, with the city. So the document that we prepared is still kind of out there in the context of being prepared and approved by you in general form, but the transaction is not yet able to go any further absent the city actually weighing in and commenting. And apparently the city has some comments and some other points of view that may be different than what the contract or the document looks like today. And that was the last we heard from Mr. Abrams. He's been diligent about it, but there's the missing component in the conversation was not the district, but the city. The applicant certainly had a goal. The applicant made certain commitments to the city through their lawyer, through Mr. Abrams. And the district responded in kind and offered up a number of different conditions that I think were fair and rational and legally supportable. But the city may have some other views of what to do with the transaction. So at this point, I have no document to bring back to the board for reconsideration with any comments of any sort until we hear back from the applicant's lawyer. And we have not yet had that discussion. So that's still kind of out there.
Thank you for that.
Two more
Anything?
things like that.
Yep.
The bill, which I read in the session, which is House Bill 199, that's the special districts ethics training requirement. That bill passed the State House, House Bill 199. It was sent to the Senate on April the 26th. And it would require, as we discussed at one of the last meetings, that beginning on January 1, 2024, each elected local officer of an independent special district, as defined by state statute, chapter 189, and each person who is appointed to fill a vacancy for an unexpired term of such elective office must complete 4 hours of ethics training each calendar year, which addresses at a minimum Article 2, Section 8 of the Constitution, which deals with government activities, ethics for public officers and employees, and the public records and public meetings laws of the state. This requirement may be satisfied by completion of a continuing legal education class or other continuing professional education class, seminar, or presentation if the required subject matter is covered by such class, seminar, or presentations. As luck would have it, your lawyers actually do this. And this is a PowerPoint we just did last Thursday, actually, to one of our public bodies. In Broward County, for example, under the Broward County Ethics Code, which was adopted by the voters in Broward County back in 2012, round numbers, the newly electeds are required to put in 8 hours of training and then electeds for 4 hours each year thereafter. The state requires 4 hours, and this would be a change to chapter 112, and we can provide this training to you as a part of your attendance here, and we can schedule whatever time it takes to do that. The bill probably will pass. It's just simply being scheduled in the Senate. The expectation is that it will pass, but we'll let you know as soon as we can. The session ends Friday, the end of the session. So this bill is still in the hopper. It did require final approval. It's the kind of thing that we believe would be passable by the legislature. And
Effective for 2023?
24.
Oh, for next year.
Yeah, it specifically said January 1, 2024.
Anytime during 24 or
Anything I
before
suspect
January
beginning January 1 and thereafter, you have to have 4 hours per year.
Okay.
Per year, and we have to basically have the same training we give to other government agencies. We can provide that. In fact, in the Broward County Ethics Code, it has a specific reference to the fact that the local governing attorney, whether it be the county attorney or city attorney, can provide the service. It must be interactive. At least 2 hours must be interactive. But you would have it here. We can provide the service to you in part of a workshop before a meeting or whatever. You can do it in slices, 2 hours plus 2 hours. It's not that painful. It's actually helpful, and it's a refresher for most of you who do follow the law, which is a good thing. And it will help you to understand best how the laws have changed from time to time. But we can do it, and we look forward to it. Yes, sir. Every year. And what'll probably happen is, if I'm not mistaken, on the Form 1, because I file a Form 1 as well, I think there's some certification on the Form 1 that for those who are applied to have taken their state training. It's actually in the Form 1. We have to certify to it. So it'll be there. That's my next bill, if I may, Madam Chair. That would be Committee substitute, Senate Bill 774. The good news and the bad news. The good news is that the bill passed both the House and the Senate. It's on the governor's desk for execution. It's been engrossed and enrolled. This is the engrossed version. It does not include special districts. It deleted city managers and county managers. And what it did do was it added CRA board members at the very end, mayors, and it applies to mayors, elected members of the governing body of the municipality, beginning January 1/24, each member of the and they added the Commission on Ethics. So the Commission on Ethics, which is appointed by the House and Senate and by the governor, would now be required to file a Form 6, which is kind of interesting, actually, because they're the ones that get to enforce it too, to something, because that's part of their jurisdiction. So the bill passed. It's not been signed by the governor. And I think it's likely that it will, quite frankly. It's Senate Bill 774, and it does not include special districts. The only one that does is House Bill 199, which includes the education requirement. And that's all I have this evening to report out on those items for your review. Yes, ma'am.
We used to do the ethics online, so we're not allowed to do that anymore.
You know, it doesn't say interactive. I know the answer is you probably still can. In fact, the way I read the provision, it talks about specifically continuing legal education class or other continuing professional education class, seminar, or presentation, if the required subject matter is covered by such class, seminar, or presentation. So the answer is more than likely yes. But if you chose to have us to do it for you, we could certainly make that accommodation and offer up, based on your time specifically. Shouldn't be problematic. And again, this is independent special districts, which is all of us in the room and your membership on this panel. So those are the two bills of interest. I know we had talked about them at the last time. And Commissioner Ernst, I can't find that bill that talks about the ad valorem tax issue and the reduction thing. And we didn't see it anywhere in the legislation this year. It's embedded someplace else. We've not seen it. But we did look. Other than that, it's a pleasure to be with you, and thank you for the opportunity as always. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right. Commissioners, who's up? Steve?
Happy Monday, everybody.
Where are we on the park naming thing? Did you ever, Brianne? She sent,
I'm just collecting all of your information and then I'm gonna turn it over to Middle Lake, and that'll be part of next meeting when we talk about updates on Middle Lake. We'll go through that.
Meant to ask this question. There was a comment in the minutes about the permitting on the roof at Sugar Sand. And it says expected to take 10 to 12 months to do the roof replacement. Really? Why so? I mean, I'm just curious because
That's the schedule they put together as part of it as planning for rain and delays and things like that. I mean, they're hoping they would love to say 8 to 10 months. We're just being conservative with it because they got to also plan around activities, and they don't want to do stuff on one end of the building when the camps are happening down there. So they're just trying to phase it in and work it out over the course of a year. So very lengthy process.
I just thought that was pretty interesting. I'm having my roof redone, and and we fortunately we didn't peel the roof off last week before the rain, but it just seemed like an extraordinarily long time to have a roof redone. 10 to 12 months. Usually they want to get in there and get it done and move on. So, but okay, no issues.
And thank you for having the Ranger report circulated to us. I do have a question about Ocean Strand. No dogs. Is that correct?
Thing is a city ordinance. It's not a park rule, but it's a city ordinance on any properties that are zoned as parks and recreation. No dogs are allowed unless it's the actual dog park. So that's why they're following that ordinance. And really it boils down to some concerns over safety and trash.
Yes, me and Brianne went to the city council meeting. It was about, oh gosh, long. It was long. We were the last two people in the chairs at the end. But they were appreciative that we were there. And we discussed a little bit about Patch Reef and how we are hoping to move forward and work. Andy has been a very helpful in terms of the process, and if we hit a roadblock, try to contact him, see if we can work through it, that kind of thing. But they're definitely on board with trying to make it, expedited to make it happen. So it was good that we were there, and took a while. I wish they would have had us more at the beginning, but we had to wait for the end. So, but it was good that we showed that we were there for a reason, and we wanted to show that we wanted to get this project done. So I thought it was good. Anything else? No. And I don't have anything else either. So
Sharon,
Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
we are adjourned.